As you can tell, we have a very wise confirmation class, and it was such an honor and a privilege for me not just to teach them this year, but truly every week to learn from them and their wisdom. Last fall, when we as a class were together on our confirmation trip to New York City, in between a hit Broadway show and a very authentic and delicious Szechuan dinner, that was one of my personal favorite parts of the trip, but this was too. We were sitting together in a circle on the mosaic tile floor of the American Jewish Cathedral, Temple Emmanuel. And we had brought spices and grape juice, and with the Havdalah candle lit, we reflected on the long weekend that we had embarked on together. One of you remarked on how cool, how special it was that even though some of you had known each other your whole lives, while others of you barely knew each other at all, over the 72 hours that we spent together, not only did we learn about our shared Jewish history and the big Jewish world out there beyond the walls of Temple, we learned and we grew to appreciate so much more about each other, strengthening our bonds between both new and lifelong friends. And just like that Havdalah candle that we were holding, with its many wicks intertwined, we wove ourselves and our light together into one Kehillah Kedoshah, one holy community. And this Shabbat, this confirmation Shabbat, it just so happens that in our Torah reading in Parshat Emor, we read about another kind of sacred Jewish light, the menorah, which burned in the tabernacle and then in the ancient temple in Jerusalem. The Torah says that the light of the menorah should be kindled me'erev ad boker lifnei Adonai tamid, chukat olam ledorotechem. From evening until morning, they shall be lit at all times. The menorah should be lit at all times, for all time, by every future generation. And this Ner Tamid, our very own eternal lamp, which is found in every synagogue throughout the world, it is the remnant of that very first menorah that our ancestors kept alight in the wilderness. It reminds us that no matter where we are in the world, whether here or Emmanuel or Central Synagogue, that we are connected to the Jewish people who came before us, and that God's light is there to be found, to be seen, whenever and wherever we take the time to see it. But one of the beautiful things about our faith tradition is that God's light is not the only important light in Judaism. No, the book of Proverbs teaches Ner Adonai Nishbat Adam, that every human soul, every neshama, is like a candle to God. Through our spirit and through our actions, each one of us is capable of bringing our own unique light into the world. And the wisdom of Proverbs teaches that nothing brightens God's day more than that. So, as I mentioned earlier, just a moment ago, this year in our confirmation class, we have been searching inside of ourselves. You have been searching for that flame, for what makes each of your individual souls unique. While at the same time, we explored how those flames are intertwined with the light of our people, Am Yisrael, how we fit into the Jewish world across geography and time. In New York, we prayed and we sang at Central Synagogue. We saw the tenement neighborhoods many of our ancestors moved to from Europe. We ate cookies in the home of an ultra-Orthodox rabbi. We tried Jewish deli. And I really could not believe how many of you do not like pastrami. I really couldn't. But you tried it. And you expanded your understanding of what it means to be a Jew. One of the highlights of the trip, of course, was having dinner with former confirmands, of this place, of this sacred place, Temple Israel, who now live in New York City. And at that dinner, meeting so many young people who came just a few years before you. You expanded your vision for what your Jewish life could look like when you grow up and leave your parents' home. In our classes this year at Temple, as I mentioned, we engage in an intensive study of Israel, where many of you, I hope and pray safely, will visit this summer or next. You learned that Israel is the realized dream of 2,000 years of our people's yearning. When we pray, we face east towards Jerusalem, praying that once again in our lifetime, we will be able to return to that sacred land. We learned that having a Jewish homeland has given us so much to celebrate. Physical safety, which our people could not take for granted for millennia. A rebirth of Jewish culture and music in Hebrew, our holy tongue. A new cuisine. We had an actual real live Israeli come teach us how to cook, which was very fun. And this special cuisine is not just what your bubby made, but it is formed from the mixing of diaspora Jewish cultures from all around the world that met together and formed this special culture. We even learned that there are Jewish beaches in Tel Aviv. But we also explored how Jewish sovereignty has come with its own set of challenges, like how to navigate power and morality with a Jewish standing army, and especially today, how to preserve a fragile democracy that balances Jewish values and human rights for all. And you have handled all of this complex learning so well. It's hard to believe that just 3 years ago on this bima or on the bima of the Greenstein Sanctuary, many of you became bar or bat mitzvah. 3 years ago. 3 years ago for me doesn't feel like so long ago, but it's amazing the transformation you have made. 3 years ago, you demonstrated the ability to wrestle with Torah, to take our people's ancient texts and find meaning in it for our own day. And this evening, as you take your place as a Temple Israel confirmand, standing on the shoulders of the exactly 160 confirmation classes at Temple who have come before, you recommit yourselves to a life of Torah. You confirm that wherever life leads you, Torah, Temple Israel, Judaism will always light your path. And so our prayer for you tonight is that wherever you go, may you find light and happiness, joy and honor. Ora, v'simcha, v'sason, v'ikar. We are so excited to see the future, to see the world illuminated by your light, by the gifts that only you and you and you, that each one of you can bring to the world. And yet, as is the fate of all people, as much as we wish it were otherwise, each one of us, each one of you is sure to encounter some darkness along your way. Loss, heartbreak, illness, pain. Wherever you are, near or far, if this year at Temple has taught you nothing else, may you always know that Temple Israel will be here for you whenever you need her, as a place to rekindle your sparks and find your light. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will.
Before we sing this blessing to y'all, I have a few words to say to the confirmation class. So I just want to let you know that my first year here was y'all's B'nai Mitzvah year. So I have been following your light. I've been following you. And I do hope that you stay safe. Right now, you're right in the middle. You're in 10th grade. And I wish that I could keep y'all there forever because I love spending time with all of you. I've seen all of you grow up and become leaders in different ways. BBYO, JYG board over there, Molly and Kira. That's where you started in 8th grade. So it's amazing to see where you are now in 10th grade. So may you be safe. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May you be safe. call to mind. Someone who is good to us, a teacher, a friend, someone who makes us smile when we think of them. So let's open up our hearts and offer them this blessing. May you be safe. May you be free. May you find space to just be. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May this place always be home. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May this place always be home.
It is now my distinct honor to call up our congregation's president, Lee Mansberg, to offer a message to all of you.
Thank you, Rabbi Jeff. It is such a pleasure to be here with you all. Confirmation has come a really long way since my days at Temple Anshiemeth in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where it was never in our own words. And to say that y'all have written words of beauty and hope and wisdom that really defy the writers of our prayer books. Sorry, I don't know who's listening, but I just want to say that listening to your words left me filled with hope and promise, and I love the way that we view the world through your words, because you're our future. And so I just want to take a few minutes just to share a few of my own words, but they are humbled in comparison to yours. I came onto the board of Temple first through my work working with confirmation, actually. So it's a real pleasure to be with you tonight. I want to thank you for stepping up and leaning into your Jewish life at Temple. At last week's annual meeting, I mentioned an interesting term, ayeka. It's a single word question. In fact, it's the first question in the Torah where God asked Adam after he and Eve have eaten the fruit of the tree of knowledge, ayeka, which means in English, where are you? You have all spent the last year growing your knowledge and understanding of what temple and Jewish life and leadership can mean. So I ask you, where are you? Obviously, I know where you are geographically. You're sitting right here in front of me. The question is a metaphysical, a metaphorical, and an existential one. Where are you as you think about the next 2 years of your high school life and your commitment to our faith? You're not done yet. A faith tradition that needs more protection and leadership than ever before from every generation. It's not easy, as one of you mentioned today, to be Jewish today. I knew this well growing up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and Memphis, where CJBs, cute Jewish boys, lived, was my favorite escape in the whole world because this is where I felt safe as a Jew. So it hurts me that the world becomes more complicated for our Jewish children. So I'll ask you all, what are you going to do about it? It's called congregational leadership, and you are the future of this congregation's leadership. And I want you to know that the leadership of this congregation is here to show you the way, and we're counting on you. It is a season of growth for our congregation. We are in the middle of a strategic plan, and what we know from listening to you and your families is that we're all seeking Jewish connection and engagement differently than we ever have before. We want Temple to serve us all in ways that she hasn't done so before. And most importantly, as a congregation, we're curious about Temple and we want to understand how she works more. And I want to invite you all inside. So without even asking permission of the Board of Trustees, I want to invite you to send emails to us. Come shadow us. Come sit in on some board meetings as my special guest. It's the only way you'll know where to step in and step up as leadership. So I'll ask you one more time, Ayeka, where are you all? But this time I'll answer, and I hope you believe it, you're home. Congratulations, and thank you for showing up each week to be a part of our congregation, and I look forward to installing each of you as a future president of this temple someday. So remember, the invitation's out there. Step up and accept it. Thank you.